Hey guys, gals, and Book Nook pals, it's Pluck the Bunny with yet another Book Nook unboxing. Today we have FUNPOLA's Magic Studio. This is sold under their Joincon line. This is a neat Book Nook in that it includes an automatic mechanical rotation part, and it includes a musical element. So some kind of music box, I would assume. This is a different shape from your typical Book Nook. It is a little wider and a little shorter, but let's see what we got. Got the X-Acto knife in case we need it. I like my retractable Nova X-Acto knife, keeps me from hurting myself. We have our sacrificial piece of sandpaper in case it's not included in the kit, and we have our bowl of B7000 tubes, because I think some of you might have doubted that I had a B7000 drawer. Not sponsored. Nothing in this video is sponsored. I do love my B7000. It's just that one tube lasts you like 3 or 4 kits, and almost every kit I get has come with it lately, so I have a whole bunch of extra. All right, opening it up. Let's take a look at what we got. Let's get this out of the way really quick. Another B7000 tube, and that will go in the bowl. I am a big fan of this plastic envelope system that they seem to be using in FUNPOLA kits. I don't know, it's kind of reusable, it's nice, and it keeps everything together a little bit more organized than just folding around this. So if we take a look here, we have our electronics bag. Battery box looks to be like a 3 AAA, I'm guessing. We have our motor, so the turning element will be self-powered, and it does look like it's a digital speaker. So instead of a music box, it's going to be a digital speaker. We have a computer chip LED, which means I'm guessing some kind of like flickering lighting element. We have our integrating circuit board, and if you can't see it, it actually does label it LED, battery, motor, and display, so a speaker rather. So that's pretty cool. One thing I do want to mention about this kit, and all the FUNPOLA kits I've done so far, is their LEDs are actually color-coded. It's a nice feature. It further reduces the chances of making a mistake when setting up your lighting at the end. It's definitely a end-user quality of life function. That's one thing I've always said about kits from this manufacturer. They really seem to be designed with the user in mind. Going in for some of our 3D elements. Hat, crown, some rings, some gold bars, actually say gold stamped on them, which I like. Screwdriver and some screws. Not quite sure what that's for, since this is not a mounted battery box. This is a double-sided foam tape, usually used for attaching our integrated circuit board to the frame. I do think it's neat that some of the elements on this one are identical to the elements from the Magic Academy, but considering these are all the same magical world by this manufacturer, it would make sense that we would have reused elements. A couple other bags in here. We have some chains and some rings. I know there's going to be some hanging rings in the front, so that's what that's going to be for. And we have various beads and gems, and I'm sure those will be used for different cosmetic elements magically. I do want to talk about this last piece. So this is a wax brick. If you've done any of the tone shear kits, like Clock Tower or even Space Time Museum from our last event, you'll know that the wax block is used for rubbing on mechanical elements to keep the pieces from binding when they rub up against each other. It reduces the friction. It works, but it's not the best. You do have tight corners that are hard to get into with a firm block like this, plus it leaves a mess everywhere, plus you have to make sure you do your coloring ahead of time because ink won't go through the wax. So I am a big fan personally of picking something up like wood lubricant. It is a brushable like wax paste. You can use a Q-tip, you can use a paintbrush, you can use like disposable auto paint brushes like this, like detailing brushes. Not sponsored, but it is a great product. I will put a link to some of them below in the comments. All right, so that's all of these elements. But I do prefer the furniture polish over the block of wax. I think it's a better option. All right, so here we have our vellum or wax paper. translucent paper, which will form our stained glass windows. This looks like a portal effect. Interesting to see what appears to be solid wood. I don't know why you would want translucent wood, but it is magical, so maybe that is applicable. We have our decal sheet here. Some other decals are generic, you know, butterflies, and this says Le Figaro, vintage newspaper. Let's look at the book titles. All the Young Dudes. All the Young Dudes. And then another version of All the Young Dudes, just in case you didn't like the original. There's the reprinted version. The textbooks do seem to be real textbooks. Ooh, right there. Deadly Poisons, Book of Spells, Book of Shadows. So that's neat that they're theme-appropriate books. One thing I definitely want to point out is, if you can tell, it might be hard to tell, the decals are, yeah, there you go. So between the sections here, you have perforations. So these are the interiors of books. You fold them up on themselves to make different pages. One thing on a lot of kits is they don't perforate the seams, which means you have to eyeball the folding, and it's very difficult to perfectly fold a decal on itself, let alone multiple times. So the scoring really, really helps, and that's a huge green flag for me. Also, these envelopes, which you're going to have to fold decals into themselves to form envelopes, also have that big plus for me. Instruction manual. I don't love that it's all black and white. I know a lot of people who build book nooks prefer the all-color manuals because it's easier to determine the orientation of the pieces, which is front-facing, which is back-facing. So I don't love it, and I'm surprised actually to see a black and white kit from this manufacturer. However, it does look like the instructions are pretty explicit. They are featuring, they are calling out when something is the colored section, when something is the uncolored section. So that is nice, at least. And I do know for the wiring at the very end, because the wires are specific colors, it will be a lot easier to differentiate what you're doing and not use incorrect wires. So that's a big thing. This is going to be our dust cover for the front. As I said, it's shorter and wider than a normal book nook, but you know, every once in a while it's nice to change it up. That way your display isn't, you know, monotonous. Looking at our runners, we all know the biggest thing I look for in runners is, that's right, double-sided printing. Ding ding. Because that means that when you're done, you're not going to have any exposed blank edges, and you don't have to waste a whole alcohol marker coloring them in. Definitely not a Patronus. Alright, single-sided, double-sided. So obviously the interior walls are usually going to be double-sided, even on the least painted of kits, but it does look like some of these structural elements are as well, so that's a good sign for me. As always, I like the printing on this. There's a lot of details. This does seem to be a little more on the cartoony side, you know, not hyper photorealistic, but then again you have pieces like this which do appear to be a little more on that photorealistic side. I do like the window on the back piece. That means we're going to have a little bit more visibility, which is why it's equally important to have these double-sided pieces, because if you're able to look at the kit from different angles, you're going to want to make sure that you can hide those exposed edges. 9, 3, 6, 9, 11. So 20 books, not that bad. It's no 300 Abbey library from Mini City, which is nice. Looks like this is going to be our top. So these are going to be our approximate dimensions. That is some unfortunate kerning on the kit. definitely does not look like dim light flickers, but we all know that's what it actually says. The mysterious potions are slowly boiling. It's going to be our back. We all know any magician worth their salt will loudly display the word magic. And we have various elements like potions and stuff. Some wands and some more of those coins. It would have been cool actually to see some mini gold coins in that packet of 3D elements. This is interesting. We got a lot of cool elements. I'm excited to work with the speaker and the motor. I was trying to get a motor integrated into the Space-Time Museum build, and I couldn't, so it's going to be neat to build a kit with it designed. I have yet to build one with integrated sound, so that's going to be cool. It's going to be interested to see how they integrate, how they accomplish all of their instructions with a black and white instruction manual, though I am optimistic because of the other attention to details like the color-coded wires and the perforations on the decals. So again, this is Magic Studio, sold by FUNPOLA. It is under their Joincon line. Oh, and we can't forget, since it didn't include it, we have to take our sacrificial piece of sandpaper and sacrifice it to the Book Nook gods, because that is all that one piece is good for. So thank you very much for joining me, all the guys, gals, and Book Nook pals out there, and I will see you for the next unboxing. Have a wonderful day.